Hi, I'm David Schenk. I'm an attorney and enrolled agent, enrolled to practice before the IRS, and I talk about tax issues, estate planning, and asset protection. Today we're going to talk about what if I haven't filed my taxes in a long time. There are many good reasons to file on time. One is that the IRS charges a failure to file penalty. And this penalty is bigger than the failure to pay penalty. In fact, it's 10 times as large as the failure to pay penalty. So even if you can't pay your taxes, it still makes sense to file your return. Another reason to file is there are various time limits that only start to run once you file. For example, the IRS generally only has 3 years to audit a return, but that 3 years starts from when you file the return. If you don't file, 3 years never starts, and the IRS can audit you at any time. There are other time limits as well, including the 10-year collection limits or statute of limitations, and the 3-year bankruptcy limit. None of these limits starts until you file the return. Okay, so it's a good idea to file, but you already knew that. What happens if you don't file? Well, usually nothing's going to happen for a while. The IRS is going to wait and see if you get around to it. But eventually, they will probably file what's called a substitute for return on your behalf. And this is a return that the IRS files for you using the data at their disposal, like your W-2s or 1099s or other information returns they have about you. Substitute for return is the worst of all possible worlds. Not only is the IRS going to ignore any deductions or credits that you might use to reduce your tax due, but the substitute return doesn't count as a filed return for the purposes of any of the time limits that we've discussed. The good news is that you can simply file your own returns, and any return that you file is going to supersede a substitute for return that the IRS has filed for you. And it's going to correct the tax due. So if the IRS filed a return that shows you with a tax due of $10,000, and then you file your return and it shows you with zero tax due, they will update their records to indicate the zero tax due. And once you file, the time limits that we discussed all start running. And there is no time limit on your ability to file a return. Although, if you are due a refund, you have to file generally within 3 years in order to get that refund. But what if you've lost track of all your tax information from previous years? Hard to file a tax return without the tax information. Generally, it can be recreated. The IRS itself can provide quite a bit of information in the form of tax transcripts, as can your old employers. If you really can't obtain some important information, a forensic accountant can help you reconstruct your financial records in a way that the IRS will generally accept. Disclaimer: this video and any accompanying text is for informational purposes only. The information provided does not and is not intended to constitute legal advice. No attorney-client or similar relationship is formed. If you require legal advice, please contact an attorney or other legal professional. This video covers a complex legal area in just a few minutes, and of necessity leaves out much of the detail. Don't make decisions based only on this video.